Today's 10-Minute Teacher Podcast is sponsored by SmartBrief. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn how SmartBrief can make reading the news fast and easy, even during the school day. How to set goals for your library this summer. Episode 493.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
So today we're talking with librarian media specialist Amanda Johnson from Henry County, Virginia. And Amanda, before we dive into some 5 awesome things for librarians and media specialists to think about putting into their program, we have to say how you and I met. So it's kind of your story. So you tell me what caused that tweet that you sent to me that kind of got this show going.
I had been listening to a bunch of different podcasts, and I stumbled across yours, and then I was like, oh, it would be so cool to be on a podcast. So I was listening to one while I was taking my bubble bath one evening, and I tweeted about it, and you invited me to chat.
I just love the transparency because it was like, I'm taking a bubble bath and listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast, and I want to be on a podcast. I have it as a new goal. And I'm like, well, hey, I looked at all your stuff. Now, I do admit, I don't just invite anybody in a bubble bath to be on the show, but I did look at all your stuff. And, you know, Twitter is almost like an online resume. And I was like, wow, Amanda's doing all kinds of cool stuff. She's just not a person who listens to podcasts in a bubble bath. She does stuff. So this has been your first year being a librarian, but we want to talk about 5 awesome things that librarians and media specialists can look at over the summer in particular. 5 trends, 5 things you've thought have really worked well for you. And I think this is great because we always have to look at our area of expertise with fresh eyes. So what's our first, Amanda?
Probably the biggest thing that I aim on focusing on this summer has to do with collection development. I really want to dive into looking at some of the nitty gritty statistics, like where we need to round out our collection, what we need to add. And as a first year librarian, that was something I dove into this year as well. Like, my kids are obsessed with graphic novels, and we didn't have nearly enough to meet the demand. So I really added a lot of those this year.
How have they liked the graphic novels? And do teachers feel like they're still reading, or is there any pushback?
They really love the graphic novels. That section stays empty. Right now, I'm collecting books for the end of the year. And when I'm getting them on the shelf, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we had that many, because that shelf is never full. And I haven't had any pushback from my teachers. They have leveled libraries in their classroom that their kids use, but I really give them freedom of choice in the library. They have the ability to peruse and explore all over. And they live by the 5-finger rule. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's all about picking a book that's just right for you.
Oh, okay. So is that the rule, or do you want to state the rule?
So 5 fingers, basically, they read a page, and if they have more than 3 words on that page that they don't recognize or aren't familiar with, that book might be a little bit too tricky for them right then. So if it's 3 or less, then it's just right. And as they find one that they don't know, they put a finger down.
Oh, how interesting. Now, of course, sometimes I read books that are beyond that, but I guess at some point we have to say, okay, we can learn these new words, and, you read electronically and you can look those words up. Okay. So Amanda, what is our second one?
One of the big things that I've jumped into recently has been Wakelet. Wakelet is like a digital portfolio. You can put all sorts of things in there. You can upload things from your Google Drive. Or they're currently adding all of these integrations with different products. Like, you can post videos straight from Flipgrid in there. But I've really embraced that as a way to share resources with my students. I have links to websites that we use and different places that they frequent on the internet, and like login information for code.org. Like, all of that is right there for them. And I'm big into QR codes. So like, they come in the library and there's a huge QR code posted for it, and they know to go straight there and where to find what they're looking for what we're doing that day.
Oh, wow. So it's just kind of like a start page or launch page for your activities for the day.
Yes. And you can have everything in there. And there's a collaboration feature as well. So the students could upload or add things to the collection, which is nice as well. We haven't gotten into that too much yet, but they really liked using it. And my paraprofessional, she's in the computer lab with them, and she has it bookmarked so they know when they come in, where to go to whatever her assignment for the day is.
So this is very important, teachers. It's something all of us need to work on, of course, over the summer. And in the book, Flattening Classrooms, Engaging Minds, I call it having a home base. That when you do a big project or you do big activities, kids need to know exactly where to start. And if you could be consistent, that is awesome. Love that, Amanda. What's our third?
Our third thing, I've really worked hard with collaborating with teachers. And one of my goals for the summer is to talk with them and get a good idea about how to line things up. I want my library to be an extension of the classroom, and I want to enhance what they are doing. So, like, I have all these great ideas. Kindergarten, they learn the Pledge of Allegiance, and I want to get the timeline of, okay, they're doing that the second week of school, so we're going to do a green screen video where they're saying the pledge, and we'll put the American flag behind them.
I love that. You're showing an attitude of servant leadership because, I'm an IT director as well as teaching a few classes. And, when we serve the teachers as they serve the students, we're on the same team, aren't we?
We really are. And that's very important to me. I love that I have so much freedom in the library to go all these different directions and really dive into some projects that a classroom teacher might not have the time to do. And just to be able to collaborate with them is just so important.
It sure is. And summer's a great time to do that after we all heal up the first few weeks.
Yeah.
I leave teachers alone for a little while because, we all struggle. Okay, so what's our fourth, Amanda?
The fourth thing for me is to really dive into some of the tools that I have. My school is one-to-one with iPads, and we have so much technology in our building that, when you come fresh out of library school, about like 3D printers and virtual reality, but I didn't have access to that as a struggling graduate student. So I really want to take some time to better explore some of the resources that I have available to me so that I can further continue to implement them in my lessons for next year.
Yes, better using what we have already. That's just so important. Okay, what's our fifth?
Work your way through your good summer reading list. That's one thing that I'm guilty of. There's just not enough time to really read the way that I would like to. I know some of the kids are like, oh, you just stay in there and read all day. And I'm like, oh gosh, not nearly enough. So I have quite the list I want to work through. And I know I read like a lot of picture books. I'm trying to get into what they're into because it's so important to be able to give them a good recommendation and know what's so popular right now.
And relating to them in their culture. So, Amanda, as we finish up, this has been your first year and you're still excited. Could you tell us the things that people did for you to ease your transition into school?
So this is my first year, but I'm also in a brand new building. So it's a new elementary school, a 3 through 5 school, and then a primary school merged into this building. So I, came in the first day and was surrounded by boxes. I had so many people from the school that were willing to help me get things unpacked and set up. And I just kind of had to hit the ground running. And in some ways, it was trial by fire, jumping right in. And I just am so appreciative that I've had all the help that I have had. My paraprofessional, Miss Bryant, she's kind of old school. So when I came in, I'm young. She was like, oh my gosh, this girl is nuts. She has all these ideas, but she really has come around and I have taught her so much. And just having someone to work with and bounce ideas off of has been so great for me. And our teachers, they really have been open to the things that I want to do. And some of the things I've been able to teach their kids with our technology, they have been able to take that and implement in their classroom as well.
And I bet you've learned a lot from them too, huh, Amanda?
Oh, absolutely. Just the ideas that they've had. Like I did some virtual reality experiences with students and they were like, okay, this is where you should go. So they just have such good ideas.
Teachers are awesome. And when you love teachers and when you love kids and all the other stuff, school's challenging and sometimes kids act up and we all get tired and we get cranky and the kids miss a lot because of sports. There's always a lot of other things, but if we can keep our eye on the main thing. And what I love, Amanda, is you have set some goals for yourself about some areas you want to improve, but then also are encouraging teachers to improve in some areas for them. So this one is for you, Media media specialists and librarians. And I hope that you will share all of your thoughts and what you're going to be doing this summer too. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you so much.
The evolving world of EdTech can often seem overly complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Smart Brief on EdTech is a daily email news service made specifically for educators like us. It condenses the latest industry news into a quick 2-minute digest. The folks at Smart Brief read everything, and we get what matters. So activate your free subscription today by heading to coolcatteacher.com/smartbrief. So that is coolcatteacher.com/SMARTBRIEF. Thanks for staying smart with Smart Brief.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.